You walk into a car that looks like it escaped from a European design studio. Sit down on heated and ventilated massage seats, watch a 13-inch touchscreen come to life in 2 seconds, hear 14 speakers pump out cinema-quality sound, and then someone whispers the price in your ear. $11,000. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard that right. Not a typo, not a lease payment, the actual price to own it. Now, here's the kicker. This isn't some stripped-down golf cart pretending to be a car. We're talking rear-wheel drive, battery swap capability, AI-powered autonomous features, and safety ratings that make expensive SUVs look lazy. So, what's the catch? Why isn't everyone talking about this? And more importantly, would you actually trust your life and your family to something this cheap? Stick around, because what I'm about to show you might completely rewire how you think about car shopping. And if this gets your brain buzzing even a little, hit that like button right now because we're diving deep into something the traditional auto industry really doesn't want you thinking too hard about. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's set the stage here. There's this vehicle that just dropped and it's causing some serious whiplash in the electric car world. It's a compact 5-door hatchback, and at first glance you'd swear it came from the same designers who sketch out those trendy European city cars. You know the ones, those chic little numbers that cost a small fortune but make you feel cool, parallel parking in front of a coffee shop. But this thing? It's coming out of China, and the price tag is so absurd it almost feels like someone made a typo on the website. Let's talk size for a second. It measures just over 4 meters long, nearly 1.8 meters wide, and stands about 1.5 meters tall. Now, if you're not a numbers person, don't worry. Think of it as slightly smaller than your average compact sedan, but definitely bigger than those micro-city cars that feel like tin cans on wheels. What really stands out, though, is the wheelbase. That's the distance between the front and rear wheels. It stretches over 2.5 meters, which is honestly longer than you'd expect. That extra space translates to more room inside and better weight distribution, giving the whole car a more balanced, planted feel on the road. Now let's get to the design, because this is where things get interesting. The styling is aggressive but not obnoxious. Short overhangs front and back, crisp shoulder lines running along the body, and a roofline that tapers just enough to look sporty without sacrificing headroom. But here's where the designers really had some fun. They added these triple halo lights, 3 glowing circular rings, front and rear. When you see this car rolling up at night, those halos light up like some futuristic insect, and you'll recognize it from a mile away. It's distinctive without being weird, bold without screaming for attention. The sides of the car lean into clean minimalism, flush door handles that pop out when you approach, subtle character lines that catch the light just right, and a belt line that flows naturally from nose to tail. It's not trying too hard, but it's definitely not boring either. And the wheels? Man, the wheel designs are next level. Dense spoke patterns, two-tone finishes, the kind of artistic detail you normally see on cars costing 3 times as much. The rear end keeps that halo theme going strong with capsule-shaped light clusters and accent lighting that wraps around like jewelry. If I had to compare it to something, imagine a sportier, more expressive version of those premium European hatchbacks. You know how some brands play it safe with their designs, keeping everything neutral so they don't offend anyone? This car throws that playbook out the window. It wants you to look. It wants you to feel something. And compared to the super minimalist approach that some electric brands take, this feels warm, inviting, and full of personality. But here's what really blew my mind. Despite all this visual flair, the engineering underneath is dead serious. Over 80% of the body structure uses high-strength steel and aluminum. That's the kind of construction you'd expect from much pricier vehicles, the kind built to handle serious impacts and keep occupants safe. So you're getting eye candy that's actually built like a tank underneath. That combination of form and function, that's rare at any price point. Now, let's step inside, because this is where your jaw might actually hit the floor. You open the door expecting, budget car vibes. Maybe some hard plastics, Basic cloth seats, a tiny screen. Nope, not even close. Front and center, there's this massive touch screen. Over 13 inches of crystal clear retina display with bezels so thin they almost disappear. It responds to multi-touch gestures, swipes, pinches, the whole deal. Just like your smartphone, but bigger and faster. Behind the steering wheel sits a smaller digital cluster, about 6 inches, giving you all the essential driving info without clutter. No unnecessary graphics, no confusion, just what you need when you need it. The brain behind all this is a custom intelligent operating system that boots up in about 2 seconds. 2 seconds? You can actually start driving in under 7 seconds from a cold start. That's faster than some people take to find their keys. The screen layout is brilliantly organized, too. Upper left handles navigation and driving data. Lower left manages climate control and settings. The right side. That's for entertainment, apps, whatever you want to dive into when you're parked. And here's a cool trick. You can swipe with 2 fingers in different areas to control different things. One zone adjusts temperature, another changes volume. It's called blind control, meaning you can do it without even looking once you get the hang of it. And the ambient lighting. Oh man, 256 different colors. The lights don't just glow, they react. Swipe to change the climate, the lighting shifts to cool blues. Crank up the heat, it warms to reds and oranges. Play music, and it pulses with the beat. It sounds gimmicky until you experience it, and then it just feels right, like the car is responding to you. Let's talk seats. Even the base model gets heated front seats. Move up a trim level and you're looking at ventilated seats, 10-way power adjustments, lumbar support, and even massage functions. Massage seats. In a car that costs less than most people's used sedans. The upholstery is synthetic but high quality, designed to resist stains and water with a premium microfiber option available. The dashboard, door panels, armrests, they all use the same thoughtful materials. No cheap, scratchy plastic where your hands rest. Everything feels cohesive and intentional. Options? Yeah, there are plenty. Wireless phone charging, a panoramic sunroof that floods the cabin with light, and even a fragrance diffuser if you want your commute to smell like a spa. The sound system deserves its own paragraph. 14 speakers arranged in a 7.1 surround setup, enhanced with spatial audio technology. Your music doesn't just play, it surrounds you. Highs are crisp, mids are clear, bass actually thumps without distortion. For a compact car, it's borderline ridiculous how good it sounds. There's also a voice assistant baked in. You can control over 85% of the car's functions just by speaking. Lower the temperature, change the song, adjust the ambient lighting, all hands-free. And there's an app that connects to your phone, letting you precondition the climate, check battery status, lock or unlock doors, and even update the car's software remotely. All of this is standard, not some premium package you have to finance separately. Storage is smarter than you'd think, too. Up front, there's a trunk under the hood, about 92 liters, perfect for bags or charging cables. Out back, the cargo area offers between 335 and 400 liters with the seats up. Fold those rear seats down and you're suddenly looking at over 1,200 liters of space. That's crossover territory. Plus, there are hidden compartments under the rear seats and front passenger seat in certain trims, adding another 30 liters or so of sneaky storage. It's the kind of clever packaging that makes you wonder why other brands don't think this way. Sitting in this car, touching the materials, swiping through the screens, you keep asking yourself the same question. How is this real at this price? It feels more expensive than it is. Way more expensive. If you're vibing with this deep dive so far, go ahead and smash that like button. It genuinely helps and tells me you want more content like this. Alright, so we've established this thing looks good and feels premium inside. But can it actually handle your real life? Kids screaming in the back seat, grocery runs, weekend camping trips, that kind of chaos? Let's break it down. It officially seats 5 people. though realistically the back row is best suited for 2 adults and a kid, or 3 smaller passengers. If you're trying to fit 3 full-grown adults back there for a long drive, it's going to get cozy. But for daily use, school drop-offs, quick commutes, it's totally workable. Rear legroom and headroom are surprisingly decent thanks to that longer wheelbase and taller roofline. You're not folded up like a pretzel back there. Cargo space, as I mentioned, is generous. With seats folded, you can haul camping gear, suitcases, even furniture if you're strategic about it. The turning radius is tight, around 4.7 meters, making city driving and parking an absolute breeze. Compare that to trying to parallel park a full-size SUV, and you'll appreciate the difference immediately. Stack it up against something like a compact hatchback from a mainstream brand, and this thing holds its own. Sometimes even wins on usable height and smart storage solutions. So, who's this car perfect for? Small families, urban dwellers, anyone who doesn't need a 3-row behemoth but still wants space and comfort. If you're a parent hauling sports equipment and towing a trailer, maybe this isn't your ride. But for most people, this checks a lot of boxes without forcing you into a huge gas-guzzling tank. Now, let's pop the hood, metaphorically, and talk about what makes this thing move. It's powered by a single electric motor mounted at the rear, pushing out about 105 kilowatts. That translates to roughly 140 horsepower and around 200 newton-meters of torque. And yes, it's rear-wheel drive, which is actually pretty rare in this price class. Most budget compacts go front-wheel drive to save costs, but rear-wheel drive offers better handling dynamics and a more engaging driving experience. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, about 8 seconds. Not gonna win any drag races, but it's plenty quick for merging onto highways or zipping through city traffic. Top speed sits around 150 kilometers per hour, roughly 93 miles per hour. Not blistering, but totally adequate for highway cruising. Power comes from a 42 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. This chemistry is known for safety and longevity, which matters because nobody wants a battery that degrades to uselessness after a couple years. Range is advertised at around 420 kilometers under ideal testing conditions, though real-world driving in mixed conditions will get you closer to 330 kilometers, give or take. Fast charging supports up to 100 kilowatts, meaning you can go from 10 to 80% in roughly half an hour under optimal conditions. But here's where things get wild. This car also supports battery swapping. Instead of waiting to charge, you drive into a specialized station, and a machine swaps your depleted battery for a fully charged one in just a few minutes. You can even buy the car without a battery and rent one monthly, slashing the upfront cost significantly. We're talking thousands of dollars off the purchase price. It's a flexible, future-forward approach that could seriously reduce range anxiety, assuming the infrastructure keeps expanding. Performance-wise, it's not trying to be a supercar. It's balanced, efficient, and practical. But that battery swap feature? That could be a game-changer if it scales properly. Now, cheap and electric mean absolutely nothing if the car isn't safe. So let's talk protection. This vehicle achieved top safety ratings in its home market testing and aims to meet equivalent international standards. It comes standard with 9 airbags, including dual-chamber side airbags and full curtain coverage. The active safety suite is loaded with over 15 different functions: lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, highway driving assistance, autonomous parking, obstacle detection and avoidance, the works. There's even supervised autonomous driving capability powered by AI-grade hardware, though you still need to keep your hands ready and eyes on the road. Structurally, that high-strength steel and aluminum blend we talked about earlier provides excellent rigidity. This isn't a flimsy econobox that crumples like foil. It's engineered to absorb and redirect impact forces away from the cabin. For a car at this price point to offer this level of safety tech and structural integrity, that's a serious statement. It's saying, we're not cutting corners on the stuff that actually matters. All right, moment of truth. Let's talk money, because this is where your brain might short-circuit a little. When this car launched in its home market back in April of this year, the starting price with the battery included was about $16,700 US. The higher trim, around $17,500. Already, that's bonkers cheap for what you're getting. But here's the real kicker. With the battery rental option, the upfront cost drops by about $5,600, bringing the base model down to roughly $11,100. $11,000. You pay a small monthly fee, around $56, to rent the battery. So you could drive off in this feature-packed electric car for the price of a decent used sedan. Let's put that in perspective. A brand new mainstream compact sedan in the US starts in the mid-20s. A premium small European hatchback, fully loaded, easily pushes past 30 grand. Basic electric vehicles with similar tech and range, you're looking at 25 to 35,000, easy. This thing is literally half the price, sometimes less, yet it offers more tech, more flair, and arguably more value per dollar. Now, if this car ever makes it to Western markets, you'd have to factor in import taxes, regulatory compliance costs, and dealership markups. Realistically, you'd probably see it priced in the low to mid-20s in the US or Europe. But even at that price, you'd still be getting features and quality that many competitors in that range simply don't offer. That's the part that should make traditional automakers nervous. But hold on, because nothing's ever perfect, right? There are definitely some catches and challenges worth talking about. First up, launch delays. The rollout to international markets hit some snags, with availability pushed back several months in some regions. Turns out, building sales and service networks from scratch overseas is harder than anticipated. Shocking, I know. Right-hand drive versions for certain markets aren't expected until late in the year, further complicating global expansion. Then there's the tariff situation. Recent trade policies slapped hefty extra tariffs on vehicles from this region, sometimes over 20%. That could seriously eat into the price advantage and make it less competitive in Western markets. The battery swap infrastructure, while brilliant in theory, is still limited in reality. The swap stations aren't everywhere yet, so if your route doesn't pass one, you're stuck relying on traditional fast chargers like everyone else. There are also reports that early models might not be compatible with older swap stations, meaning more upgrades and potential headaches down the line. Range claims are another area to watch. That 420-kilometer estimate? That's under ideal lab conditions. In the real world, especially highway driving in cold weather with the heat blasting, you're probably looking at closer to 250 to 300 kilometers max. And like any electric vehicle, charging speeds will drop slightly over time as the battery ages. Then there's the question of brand reliability and service outside the home market. This company is huge domestically, but internationally, they're still building credibility. Parts availability, software updates, maintenance networks, all of that needs time to mature. And the long-term durability of those fancy touchscreens, AI features, and smart functions in harsher climates? Still an open question. Finally, let's be honest about consumer trust. In markets like North America, the phrase cheap car from overseas still carries baggage, fair or not. Convincing people to trust an $11,000 to $17,000 electric vehicle with their family is safety won't be easy. Insurance rates, resale values, crash test familiarity, all of those are question marks that'll take time to answer. So yeah, for all its flash and futuristic appeal, this car has real mountains to climb before it can dominate globally. So here's the big, uncomfortable question I'm going to leave you with. Would you personally trust an electric car priced between $11,000 and $17,000, loaded with advanced tech, battery swap capability, and bold promises, to safely carry your family around every day? Or would you stick with the familiar name brands you've known for decades, even if they cost twice as much? Be honest with yourself. What does your gut say? Because here's the thing, this isn't just about one car. It's about a fundamental shift happening in the auto industry right now. Technology and manufacturing are advancing so fast that the old price-to-quality rules are getting rewritten. What used to cost 50 grand can now be built for 15. What used to take a decade of R&D can now happen in 2 years. And that's exciting, but it's also scary because it challenges everything we thought we knew about what a car should cost and where it should come from. If this car showed up at a dealership in your city tomorrow, fully certified, with a solid warranty, and service network, priced at $25,000 out the door, would you seriously consider it? Would you test drive it? Would you compare it honestly against the usual suspects? Or would you dismiss it before even sitting inside? I want to hear your raw, unfiltered take on this. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back. Tell me if this is a future family car or a future flop. Tell me if the price makes you excited or suspicious. Tell me what it would take for you to actually trust something like this. This is the fun part, the debate, the back and forth, the clash of optimism and skepticism. And listen, if this video got your wheels turning, if it made you think differently about the car market, or if you just enjoyed geeking out over specs and design with me, do me a solid and hit that like button. It genuinely helps the algorithm show this to more people, and it tells me you want more deep dives like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to keep exploring the wildest, weirdest, and most game-changing stuff happening in the world of electric vehicles and beyond. There's so much coming down the pipeline that's going to blow your mind, and I don't want you to miss any of it. So that's it for today. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. Whether you're Team Future Tech Budget EV or Team Stick with What You Know, I appreciate you being here. Now get down in those comments and let's have a real conversation about where this industry's headed and whether we're ready for it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep questioning everything. Peace.